Welcome back to Grit Factor, where we unpack the stories that shape us, stretch us, and move us to action. Now, this conversation goes straight to the heart of what really matters: justice, truth, and how we fight for change in a fractured world. Today's guest is a force in law, ministry, leadership, and advocacy. Dr. Paul Kupe is an attorney, a global speaker, advisor to government, and kingdom leader who has dedicated her life to justice, empowering women around the world, and social transformation. Dr. Paul, it is such an honor to have you. Welcome to the Grit Factor.
Thank you, Erin. I think the honor is all mine. And I was actually just reflecting that last time I saw you, we were in opposite seats, I think.
Yes.
I was interviewing you and yes, on my show. And that was before your Mrs. South Africa win.
Yes.
So I must start the conversation off by saying congratulations and thank you for representing us so well.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor for me to be on your show,
Yeah.
Ambassadors of Change, and just to speak about really, people that are really making change happen on the ground and what it means and how faith relates to the different industries. And it's such a powerful, it's a powerful show and series. And I'm excited to see so much more of it. And hopefully I can come back onto the show.
No, definitely. I want you back because, that was really what we were interested in is seeing how people can use platforms to bring change. And that's why we were all really rooting for you because you were very focused in terms of what you wanted to do and what you wanted to achieve and the legacy that you wanted to leave behind. So thank you for this, for using this platform as well.
Yes.
For good cause as well.
Absolutely. And I think for me, Grit Factor was birthed out of my journey last year. Just understanding what it takes to actually win or actually get to a point of success or get to a point where you feel like you've accomplished something.
Yeah.
And it was more about the fact, I think a lot of people, think that with success, it happens quick or it's a sprint, but we came to realize that it's more than a sprint. It's a marathon.
Yeah.
And it's your ability to travel long and sort of, hold that passion and fire.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of women experience, challenges through their life, but they choose to pivot, they choose to get up, they choose to grow. And I believe that is grit and those are the stories that we like to speak about.
Yeah.
And yourself, it is such an honor for me to just chat with you and have you here because I admire you so much. And really, really, just the way you conduct your life, the way you are fighting for women's rights, for justice across the country, as a minister, as a woman of faith, as a mom, it's just incredible to watch you. You really are an impeccable role model to us to watch and model after you. So thank you so much for that. You're so multifaceted. There's so many different parts to you, but I think let's start at the beginning. How did you find yourself in law? What was that? What did that journey look like?
Well, I have to always confess because it's not something that I ever envisaged myself going into. I was actually studying political science in the United States. In the late 70s, I went to, I grew up in Canada and then I went to high school in the United States. Okay. And after I finished, I went to study political science at Temple University. And just around finishing my degree, because I went to university very young. So by 19, I'd already finished my first degree. Wow. I was 16 and did it in 3 years. Wow. But when I came home, I went to Botswana. My mother was in Botswana and I came home on holiday. And my mother just said to me, my intention was to go back and do postgraduate studies. She said, no, you're going to study law. And I've already filled out the application forms for you.
So you were forced into it.
No, it was one of those
option.
Things. She was, exactly. It was kind of forced. And I was like, no, I was trying to argue because here I was thinking I'm going back to the U.S. And my mother just said, well, I'm not paying your fees anywhere.
Wow.
So you better make a plan.
Yeah.
So, but I'm so grateful that she did. And it's so interesting, Erin, because I think sometimes our parents know us better than we do. Honestly speaking, I would never have thought at that stage that I had what it took to become a lawyer. That for me, that was just like beyond. I was just like, get a political science degree. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, so that was really, I got pushed into it and I did the interview. I passed. I even qualified for sponsorship, So, and we had our program. It was between University of Botswana and Edinburgh University. But that's how I got into law. So it almost looked like it was a mistake default. But not knowing, Jeremiah 1:5 talks about before you were formed and fashioned, I knew you. So I can't imagine myself doing anything else. I can't, because I think the aspect of justice, I was always supposed to be in justice and at the gates of justice. I remember just in grade 4, I had one of my best friends, Bridget was her name. And Bridget was tiny, really petite. And we had a school bully. I won't mention the name of the bully. I don't want to know.
Are they still around?
They're still around. But there was a school bully who was like 3 times her size, who would every break, recess time, would come and steal her scuff tin, etc., and take Bridget. And Bridget would just be shivering, poor little thing.
Wow.
And just one day I just said, and I just
Stood up.
Yeah, I stood up for her, laid into the bully. I mean, I was half her size. I love
it. I love it.
But I was just like, no. Yeah. And I realized that my whole thing from justice, it was already in me there, that seeing vulnerable, innocent, defenseless people, I just couldn't take it anymore.
Wow.
And I had if I perish, I perish. I'm going down, but I just can't take this injustice. I was so offended at this injustice that here comes this big bully and she's coming to always, terrify my friend and take away the little that she has. And so that's still what I do now.
Yes.
50 plus years later, it's still what I try to do now, is defend the defenseless.
Yes.
And the big bullies who are trying to make life intolerable. That's my role. And now I do it in court, not with my fists anymore.
You found a different method.
I found a more, appropriate method, which will not land me in jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Because I think a lot of times we don't realize that calling, that calling was there from the beginning.
Yeah.
And it just takes the right people, our parents, or, someone that's an oversight to say, this is who you are, and draw that out of you.
Right.
Or push you into the direction that is really going to guide you into who you're supposed to be. I think it's so powerful. I experienced something very similar. That's why I'm like sitting here in awe. I'm like, wow, I remember myself in a very similar situation.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I resonate so much with who you are and what you do and how you stand up for people and the authority that you have when you do what you do. It's because I have a deep sense of that holy anger against injustice. And
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not able necessarily to put it into words, which I'm sure you will do for us now, exactly what that looks like.
Yeah.
But I know that it is to be a voice to the voiceless.
Right.
And I've even had a word that God had given me before when I started the journey.
Right.
It's found in Psalms, and it says, if you be quiet, if you are quiet,
that's right.
do you know what I mean? Like God is, it is a responsibility for you to actually stand up and use your voice.
Yeah.
And if I give you a platform, I expect you to
stand up for the voiceless.
to stand up for them and to affect change.
Yeah.
And I think and so that's for me is very powerful. So I think maybe if you can just expand a little bit more on justice and what that looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, justice, when you're talking about justice, you're talking about issues of fairness. You're talking about issues of equity. I mean, that's in the, and for me, I've learned to kind of separate the justice, because I've discovered that there's the justice of man. And then there's the justice of God.
Okay.
And the justice of man is not always the same. The justice of man is more focused on equity, equitable and things like that. Whereas God sometimes says that you have to be inequitable to be just.
Wow.
Yeah. So for instance, we have a scripture in the Bible, if I was to be talking about the Bible, and the Bible says that he who doesn't work should not eat. He should not eat.
Okay.
But now, if I was to apply that scripture equitably, equally to a 6-year-old orphan who cannot work.
Yeah.
So I'm applying it equally, but it becomes unjust.
Sure.
So to make it just, God offsets it with another scripture now to say, take care of the widows, the orphans. And so it's actually saying, apply in equal treatment.
Okay.
So that's why I say with God, it's not always about equality. But with man, it is about equality. So, yeah, if we're talking about it just from the legislative, worldly perspective, you're looking at issues of fairness, accountability, things like that. I think my main issue with, and my concern about justice is the trends, the global trends in terms of where it's going and where it's been taken.
Okay.
I've been a lawyer now for over 40 years. And, when I studied law, it had a particular trend. But now there are two issues that are really concerning me. One is the issue where I feel like justice is being selective. We have selective justice.
Wow.
What do I mean by that? I mean that issues of women, South Africa is in the top 5 nations where, in terms of rape, in terms of GBV, all of that. And you will see in many, many nations, especially in African nations, whereby justice doesn't seem to apply to women. So we have these laws, but these laws are not implemented. I remember it was in end of 2019, just before COVID hit. And President Cyril Ramaphosa made a statement to say that GBV, gender-based violence against women, now must be considered a state of emergency.
I remember that.
He made that, yeah. And then it was 3 months later, COVID hit.
Yeah.
And he declared a national emergency. Here's what's interesting, Erin, about that. State of emergency declared 2019. What has happened with GBV since then? Nothing has happened, no changes.
Nothing.
Immediately, COVID was declared a national emergency. Everything shut down.
Sure.
And the question I ask myself is it because that men can also, COVID is going to impact on men as well, that we take this with seriousness, that now there are policies, there are laws that are implemented, there are people, there are structures out there, because now it's not just affecting women.
Absolutely.
It's affecting everybody. So I see a lack of political will when it comes to implementing justice that works for women, to protect women. I don't see that happening. And it's not just in South Africa. In Botswana, they have something called passion killings, where women are brutally murdered by their partners. When I left Botswana 25 years ago, when I was still working there, it was a problem 25 years ago. It's still a problem. It's getting worse. So my question is, when it comes to meting out justice to women and children, we're seeing our children being raped, being molested, and it's still not being sorted out. Yeah. And yet justice is supposed to be meted out, especially to the defenseless, to the vulnerable. Who is more vulnerable and defenseless than women and children? So that is my concern, that globally, that's one of the unfortunate trends that I'm seeing coming out, is that justice seems to be selective. It seems to be working for the rich and the powerful and the mighty. And it seems to be working for those also who can pay for it. But for the people who really need justice, it seems to be veering away from them. Wow. The second very ugly trend that I'm seeing in justice is the advent of corruption coming in. Very, very concerning to me. When I was in law school, in first year law, there's a course that we do called Law and Morality. Okay. And basically what that course tries to do is it says that in every nation, the law of a nation reflects the morality, or the mores. The word we use in Latin is mores. Okay. So the morality. So you can tell how moral a nation is by the laws they've passed. So if a nation, which is like what we're doing here, is passing all these immoral laws, and perverted laws and etc. People can just have sex, and then you can just do whatever you want after that, and and things that are morally not correct. And mind you, this is a nation that said, I think it was President Mandela who started moral regeneration program. Sure. And yet we can see through our laws that we're becoming morally degenerate. Not regenerating, but degenerating. So we see this also globally, where laws are being passed to promote sexual promiscuity. Sure. And all sorts of kind of things, promote, it's taking away the family, reducing the family, and the family is the pillar of society. And we as Africans who believe in Ubuntu have always been very family oriented. Yes. So it also means that our culture is being decimated, is being taken away. So that's what we're also seeing is the aspect of corruption. I mean, I was appalled not too long ago to see that we had 2 of our judges in the judicial system here. 2 of our judges were impeached not too long ago. I think it was last year. They were impeached for bad behavior. Very bad behavior. And, they went through we had the judicial services, review, the council, JSC, Judicial Services Council. So they were found, both of them, guilty.
Wow.
One, it had to do with complete drunkenness to the extent that he destroyed, crashed into somebody's wall. And then the other had to do with interfering in a case.
Oh, wow.
Interfering in a case. So why am I raising these issues? I'm raising an issue because I'm saying that when the judicial officers who are supposed to be meting out justice are now themselves found to be lacking, it's very, very concerning. Who do we turn to in those instances? One of the judges was actually shortlisted for the position of Chief Justice.
Wow.
Even after he'd been found guilty. After he'd been found guilty. It took organizations having to go to President Ramaphosa to complain, to say, this is the highest judicial office in the nation. How can you put somebody who's been found guilty as top 5 considered judges for this post? Because it needs to be somebody with immaculate character. So that's when his name was removed. But as I speak now, he's a member of parliament. Yeah.
And I never get that. Like, are there no restrictions that forbid previously?
Well, it's not a criminal conviction. That's the only thing. It was, but the JSC.
But if
with criminal conviction,
yes,
you would not be able to run for office.
And if you were tried or if you were accused, does that not count unless you were proven guilty?
Yeah, it has to be criminal conviction. It has to be somebody who's been criminally convicted. And we saw that in the last elections, that one of the leaders of the political party actually could not. So he's leading, kind of remote control.
Remote
control because of his criminal conviction and having gone to prison as well. Yeah. So that's very concerning. I mean, recently, the head of the NPA, Shamila Batoi, made a statement also that was concerning. I don't know to the degree that it's correct, but talking about the NPA, which is the department she leads, National Prosecuting Authority, and raising concerns around, whether some of the prosecutors or judicial officers, whether there was some aspect of corruption. And I think it was just a few days ago, I was reading the newspaper report where the Minister of Justice was saying if they find prosecutors who are corrupt, they're going to have to clamp down hard on them. That's very concerning. So those are the 2 trends I'm really, really very concerned about.
Yeah.
A system that has been put in place that is supposed to bring accountability, that is supposed to bring fairness, that is supposed to ensure against criminality.
Yes.
And now part of the system and the officers there have been found to be corrupt and engaging in criminality themselves. It doesn't augur well.
That's a lot. I just feel like it sometimes feels like this mountain that needs to be, how do you take out an elephant, basically? You know what I mean? Because it seems like there's just so much that's happening and so many issues and challenges, systems that need to be corrected, things that need to change. And of course, we need those people. We need those people with a passion, with compassion, people that actually have a heart for the country and that have a heart for the people and actually want to see our country better.
Absolutely.
And I think just to touch on quickly a little bit more about just like leadership, you mentioned leadership.
Right.
And how important that is. Do you think that anyone can be a leader, or do you think you have to be born a leader?
Well, I think that, I've taught a course on redemptive gifts, and there is a gift of leadership where certain people are just naturally wired with that gift.
Yeah.
It's like a spiritual gift often. So leadership can be taught. But then there's some who have a greater inclination naturally.
Yes.
And so that's the issue of leadership there, is that some have natural gifts where they're wired with it. Some can learn. The best leader, I think the most highly concentrated leader will be that one who has the gift of leadership and also learns leadership principle to enhance that what is already naturally wired in them. I think that would be the best one.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we all need to know whether you have the gift of leadership or whether you learned it at Wits Business School or whatever. At the end of the day, we all need to aspire to one type of leadership. And that leadership is transformational leadership.
Awesome. I love that.
So transformational leadership, there are two pillars to transformational leadership. One, it's rooted in servant leadership. It's leaders who understand that I'm in this position to serve, not to oppress, not to abuse, not to be enthroned, which is unfortunately the style of leadership we have in Africa.
Yeah.
People who just get into the paper, blue lights cars and just want to tell everybody to get out of the way.
Yeah.
They're not serving in the community. They don't know their community. They just want to be, with entourages and people out there, not community focused, based or worried about the vulnerable and disadvantaged. But so that has to change in Africa and in the nations.
Sure.
So it's about servant leadership. In Tswana, we say "Khosika khosika batho," which means a chief or a king is only a king because of the people.
That's so good.
So people need to understand why I'm a king.
Yes.
You're not a king so we can say, "Oh, hail ye, majesty, majestic one."
Yeah.
No, you're a king because you are there to serve the people and wash the feet of the people like Jesus demonstrated to us. That's the one. And then the second aspect of transformational leadership, of course, is in the name. It is to bring transformation. Once you're a servant leader and you have the needs of the people at heart, and you are definitely out there to serve them, to better their lives and not just your life, then you are able to bring transformation in the communities cross-border. It's not just a small select group of people.
Sure.
And unfortunately, triple BEE, which was supposed to benefit everybody. I mean, we keep adding alphabets. It was double BEE, and then they added a third B. And it's still 3% of the people whom it was intended for are the only ones. It hasn't trickled down. Because there's been no political will or anything around that. There's been a lot of greed whereby people are just entrepreneuring, and filling their own pockets. And the average common man is not having anything out there.
Wow.
So that shows an absence of servant leadership, whereby we're just filling our already distended and extended bellies, which are good measure pressed down, shaken together and running over. And other people are going hungry. Yeah.
If you can maybe just share with someone that's just the average woman at home or everyday person, no legal experience, no understanding of the law, but they have a heart to, make change real. They have a heart for transformation. They want to participate in the fight against injustice. What are some of the things that they can do, like practical things that they can get involved in?
Yeah, there are a lot of things that you can do. I always say that it starts with us. Transformation starts with at the individual level. Revival starts at the individual level. There are a lot of things. We just, I have a group of ladies that I've mentored for the last 5 years, and we call them the Deborah's 972. They're Christian women lawyers.
Wow.
And I've mentored them to understand what God defines as justice. Because when God talks about justice, he says righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne. So justice is never without righteousness in God's eyes. So I've mentored them for the past 5 years. They go around, they help people, they represent very distressed women out there. And right now they're in court right now because we are fighting a case of baby savers. The baby savers case, which is now, there are a number of rescue baby centers. So these are rescue centers where women who cannot take care of their babies.
Okay, yes.
There's a little slot in the door. They can put the babies through there. A bell rings and, it's for abandoned babies. And you can leave your baby in the safe care. Nobody wants to abandon their baby. Not most women will not want to do that.
Yeah.
There are a few who commit infanticide, but most of them do not. They just do not have the ability to take care of that child. Some because of drug addiction. Some because of lack of resources. Others because they were raped and, it was unfortunate. They can't bond with the baby. So babies are being abandoned, and these rescue centers are taking care of these centers. Now, the Department of Social Development came in to say, we banned you. You're not allowed to rescue babies. So, my ladies, along with Advocate Sam Martin, along with Attorney Halani, Advocate Kotatso is leading our team, along with Advocate Reg Willis. They're in court right now, so keep praying for them. Especially August 12th is a very important date. Pray for them.
Yes.
But I said that to say this, to answer your question, to say there are things that you can do. You can get a copy of the latest Joy magazine.
Okay.
The June copy, you'll read the story there. In there's a petition.
Okay.
Scan the petition, sign the petition.
Okay.
There's an email address also in there. I think it's info@dsd.gov.
Okay, we'll get it and we'll share it.
Yeah, that's right. Please share it on the strap. So write an email, let the government know that this decision to stop organizations from helping babies, it's not called for.
Is there specific, what are they saying? What is the argument around
Their
it?
argument is that to abandon a baby is criminal. It's criminal. That it's a criminal act that you're doing, the act of abandoning baby. So they're saying that by having baby rescue centers, then we're encouraging criminality. Encouraging criminality. But here's the reality, is that these babies were being abandoned even before the baby rescue centers were there.
Yes.
And in fact, the baby rescue centers are as a result of babies having been abandoned and dying.
Wow.
And so these babies have died. I mean, I don't know if we have time just to tell a very quick story.
Yes.
But, it's not my first interaction with this. Namibia has been very good in that they've developed a new law called the Baby Safe Haven Law.
Okay.
Which America also has. And what that does is it allows the baby rescue centers to exist.
Okay.
So that's where we need to move to, to legislate that. 30 years ago in Botswana, we had the same issue where I was still practicing in Botswana, and Botswana said the same thing. It's illegal. You're not allowed to have baby rescue centers.
Wow.
And some very close friends of mine, Dr. Jerry and Jana Lackey, who originally come from the United States, Texas, were sent as missionaries to Botswana 40 years ago, almost 40 years ago, by Joel Osteen's father, John Osteen.
Yes.
They had a baby rescue center there. And, we had to fight to try and keep it open. Thank God it's still open now.
Wow.
But 21 years ago, there was a police officer who in the middle of the night heard this incessant barking. This dog would not stop barking. Whoa, 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 through the whole night. Kept barking. The policeman goes and follows the barking, finds a dog next to the riverbed, and finds a dog barking, standing over an abandoned baby who still had her umbilical cord in there. But the dog was protecting and trying to draw attention to this abandoned baby.
Wow.
So he takes this baby, takes her to the hospital, and the nurses, his name was Rapula, and the nurses take the baby in and they call her Mapula. Yeah, they just feminized his name. Yeah. And of course, my friends Jen and Janet went on hospital ministry. They saw the baby. Their oldest son said, "Mom, we can't just leave this baby here." So they took the baby in as a foster baby. Long story cut short, they ended up adopting little Mapula.
Wow.
So as I speak right now, and I've asked permission to tell her story. As I speak, Mapula is in the United States. She just finished her degree.
Wow.
She's doing a book, writing a book and a documentary on her life. But my point is to say this: Mapula wouldn't have existed if governments are saying you can't allow babies to be rescued. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of Mapulas out there.
Absolutely.
She's excelling.
Wow.
She's out in the United States. She's just making a difference. How many Mapulas are there out there?
Absolutely.
We cannot ban and stop this. I mean, the statistics say between 2010 and 2016 that there were around 3,500 babies abandoned every year.
Wow.
But please find out what's happening. Keep yourself informed. Keep yourself educated. I do a lot of programs. I do a radio program every week on Radio Impact on Mondays at 1:00. You can hear what I'm saying.
Yes.
I do a monthly program on Radio Pulpit every month. We've got our program Ambassador of Change on TBN, which is every Sunday at 1:00. You will hear all the different people who are doing things. So keep yourself informed through programs like that. It does repeats on Wednesday mornings at 9:30.
Okay.
check me out on my Facebook, Pearl Komotso Kupe, because I'm the one who's always posting what's happening here.
Yes.
Yeah, this has happened. Vote, run,
Yes.
petition, etc. So yeah, join me on Facebook, Pearl Komotso Kupe out there. Let's stay connected. I'm on all the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, everything, but let's stay connected because everybody, don't say I can't do anything. It doesn't matter whether you are in parliament or whether you are a housekeeper and you're working, as a domestic. Everybody has the capacity to make a change and to be an ambassador of change and to influence something. So if we all do that, there's going to be definite change in South Africa. So yeah,
Awesome.
there's a lot we can do. If you don't know what to do, contact us.
Yes.
Send me a message on Facebook or somewhere. We would love to interact with you, and we're happy to keep you updated.
Okay, so Dr. Paul, we've just got some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
So you can just whatever comes to mind, you can share it with us. Okay, so let's go. The first one is a scripture that has kept you anchored.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to thine own understanding, but in all thy ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. That's Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6.
Amazing. I love that. Okay. One woman in history you'd love to have a conversation with.
Rosa Parks.
Wow.
Yeah, from the United States.
Nice. Okay. Favorite place you've traveled for purpose or ministry?
Purpose. That's a tough one for me because every place is my favorite place. I don't know. Seychelles was nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll take that one. Okay. One leadership trait you value the most?
Kindness.
Love that. A book you believe every woman should read?
The Bible.
Nice. Okay. Your power word for 2025? Or just a word?
It's my word for everything. Genako.
Love it. I love it.
It's time. Get off your and do something.
Yes. I love it. Okay, cool. And then the last one is, what does grit mean to you in one sentence?
Grit. Tough, hardy, non-compromising, never give up.
Awesome. We'll definitely do another session when we can. But thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your heart, your wisdom, your experience, your passion, your love for this country, for women, for the people that God has given you to watch over and lead. And we are inspired by you, and we are watching, and we are taking notes, and we'll be saying, God help us to be off of this, the woman that Dr. Paul is, but it's because you're running with so much fervor. You are passionate, and you are knowledgeable, and you are making real change, and you bringing about the difference in the lives of so many people. So thank you so much. We're honored to have you on the show.
No, thank you. And thank you for what you're doing. Like I say, thank you for being accountable, using the platform that God gave you, not just to benefit yourself individually, but to facilitate change wherever you go. And yes, we'll continue to pray for you, and thank you for representing all of us.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for joining this episode of Grit Factor. I hope you feel empowered, inspired, and activated to participate in the fight against injustice. We'll see you next time on Grit Factor.